Thompson Productions.
That means what I urged President Trump on Friday. I said this regime is teetering. It is hanging by a thread. Do not miss this opportunity, because removing this regime that wants to murder us. Remember, this Ayatollah has for months hired hitmen with the stated purpose of murdering President Donald J. Trump. Removing this regime from power makes America much, much safer.
Are we safer? This is Tyler Yonke, LPR. We're going to talk about Iran. We're going to talk about what I think of fanatical religious wars that we're getting involved in. Can you be a fanatical religious zealot and be an atheist? I think so. It depends what your religion is. We're going to talk about that. And does Ted Cruz ever give proof of things he says? No, he just says them out there. We're going to be right back.
Things are going to start happening to me now.
I think Tyler is amazing.
And I'm a fan of this show. I've watched several episodes.
Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Tyler. You stink, Tyler.
Never promise crazy a baby.
Oh, I like that. That's a cool idea.
Are either of you homosexuals?
I go both ways. What do you think?
You mean like flaming or?
No, we're not homosexual, but we are willing to learn.
But I do wonder, for others, in other cases, whether libertarianism today is just an excuse for many on the right to act selfishly.
Look at me. And then some fat asses in Washington started having opinions. The Olympic Committee started having opinions. You bitch, I know you. You started writing your opinions.
And it just makes me wonder, you're dead, bitch. You know, why are you doing this to this poor guy?
I don't care. I'm a libertarian. What I'm getting is,
did you vote for Joe Jorgensen or Trump?
Who?
Joe Jorgensen. That was the perfect answer. Thank you.
It's always a perfect answer. Welcome, everybody. LPR Monday. We're doing a Monday show because I think we just need to talk about some of this crazy stuff that went on. What was it, 2 o'clock Saturday morning? Interesting tidbit. My son's best friend is in the Navy. And welcome, everybody. Tyler Yonke, LPR. I don't know if we got up to speed on everything. Maybe we should do, first thing, go to tyleryonke.substack.com. Go ahead and subscribe there, because we are going to do a members-only show. We're going to watch the documentary Iran, 100 Years War, 100-Year War. And it basically is from 1908 to 2008. Iran, a lot of history in there, and I think some really important parts about the overthrow back in the 50s with the U.S. and the CIA, which you're not going to hear anything about. Everything, it's just like October 7th. The world in the Middle East, for one part, only began on October 7th. For Iran, it began back in 1979. I think they want to say, 47 years, whatever that is. And nothing before that. And even then, it's like pick and choose. So, welcome. That's what we're going to do. So my son, his best friend, is in the Navy, and they were playing video games Friday, and all of a sudden he said they're like online, and they're like communicating, and they're like, I think they could see each other and everything. And all of a sudden his friend's like, we're getting locked down. And it was at that time, 2 o'clock back in the East. So they've locked everybody down there. And, some of his friends, I think, are on the Ford or whatever. And, it's kind of sucks. Kind of that time period in life. So, yeah, bummer for some of that stuff. Anyway, so we are going to talk about the Iran war, and it's gone crazy. And it's interesting to see. We're going to give a little bit of a perspective about like some of the neocons and some of the stuff they're doing and what they had said before and what's going on now. But I think it is important. It's important to what we've done. I think the what we've been doing for the last several years is important work, because it starts to inoculate you from just feeling to have this rah, I'm going to jump in. Because I mean, this isn't like, October 9/11, the towers come down. And suddenly you're just all in like, rah, I'm going to, go to war for whatever. That's not really where we're at on this case right now. So, things are just a little bit different, and you don't have to have patriotic feelings. You can have those patriotic feelings, but you don't need to do it in this instance of like, putting all your sensibilities behind you. That's just not necessary. So some of the stuff we've been doing on this show, at least, of like calling out, Ted Cruz's, the Huckabees, I think are preparing us well going forward of how we can, take on some of this stuff. And you can see it out there. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to break open one of these non-alcoholic Athletic Brewing hazies. So what it is. So Friday, when golfing, I did some work, I zoomed in to court on the way to the golf course. It was a longer drive to where we went, and it was a bit frustrating. Did well on the golf course, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Okay, let's start off on here. I want to play, let's start off with Hegseth. This little quote that he had done here. 50 seconds. We're going to do a bunch of these clips today. Hopefully they all work out. Let me know.
Create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Let me say that again. A conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Our bases, our people, our allies, all in their crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel.
It is important to note there that you're including, death to America, but death to Israel. That's really what this is all about, and let's not pussyfoot around it.
This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
So notice, it really is going to war over words. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of that as well. But death to America, I mentioned that before where Huckabee's kind of on the line of like, they've been saying death to America for 47 years. And it's like, okay, well, maybe nothing's happened. Maybe nothing will. Now, according to Ted Cruz, you saw there at the beginning, Thomas Crooks, Roush, those guys were hired by Iran. Okay, they were Iranian. Ted Cruz is just full of shit. He says all kinds of stuff, and you never know what he's actually telling the truth on. Now, speaking of, I'm just going to blow through a bunch of these little things here. This is an unbelievable thing. This Brillen Hollyhan, bad day to be a Qatari shill. Great day. Okay, what are you even saying? Let's hear. I feel bad because I have really ignored this little shit for quite some time. I would be embarrassed if this is my child. I would just say that.
Well, it's a bad day to be a Qatari shill, but it's a great day to be an American. For years, Iranians acted like they could taunt us, chant death to America, send sleeper cells across our border, push their nuclear program to the edge, and fund terror across the Middle East. They thought that D.C. would just issue another statement and go back to sleep. Well, under Biden, the world was on autopilot. Adversaries pushed, America hesitated. But last night, Trump didn't hesitate. He acted. No strongly worded letters, no apologies, no begging to the UN, no regime change, just decisive force aimed at reestablishing deterrence and eliminating our bully. That's what peace through strength looks like. For 47 years, America got trampled on. It took the 47th president to end that. The message is simple. You don't get to threaten the U.S. and expect business as usual. So somebody crank up some Toby Keith this beautiful Saturday.
Oh my God, that is just... It's so cringe from top to bottom for so many reasons. But one, I just said, hey, join the military, weirdo. Go put your go over somewhere else and fight if that's really what you want to do. There's a lot of weirdness there, right? It's like this bully in the Middle East, and I think it's important to kind of, because one person that's been posting some things, and let's actually see if we can pull it up here, is Matt Walsh. So Matt Walsh has been basically going like, I don't know if this is really what we should be doing, and he's contradicting it with pushback. Here's one thing he put in here. He said, so far we've heard that although we killed the whole Iranian regime, this was not a regime change war. And although we obliterated their nuclear program, we had to do this because of their nuclear program. And although Iran was not planning any attacks on the U.S., they also might have been, depending on who you ask. And although we are not fighting this war to free the Iranian people, they are now free, or might be, depending on who seizes power. And we have no idea who that will be. The messaging on this one, on this thing is, to put it mildly, confused. And I actually said, because I read this to Andy, and Andy's like, sounds like the messaging's clear, even from there. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Very good point. But Matt Walsh also, he's put out a few other things. Now, one, I thought it was actually deleted. Let's see if you can. Here we go. I thought this was, and he's just been putting out quality shit recently, at least today. Let's see if we go there. I can't take the gaslighting, guys. I really can't. Conservatives are now running around saying Iran has been waging war on us for 47 years. Okay, then why didn't any of you call for an attack on Iran at any point until now? Why didn't you make a case for Trump ending the war, not starting it? Until precisely the moment Trump did it. You and I both know you are latching onto a talking point you never used until 45 seconds ago. You and I both know that almost every conservative influencer in the business was opposed to war with Iran until just now. And now you're trying to use justifications that stretch back decades. It doesn't make any sense. If you changed your mind, fine. So say so. Explain why. You're allowed to change your mind. I've changed my mind about things, but don't try to rewrite history. Be honest about it. There's too much at stake to play these games. Now, I agree with that. And it'll be curious to see where he goes with this, because the Ben Shapiro's of the world. Now, I mean, I really think you've got Iran, which is do they have state-sponsored terrorism? Perhaps. I need to see a lot more details on that. Perhaps. Okay, so it's what it is. But then, we walked through that before. It's like, what is terrorism? It's meddling in with other, other countries, which CIA has been doing, especially to their country for years. So now, Iran is, Islamic State. We can say that, okay. And it's interesting, if you just listen and if you say anything incorrect, just on a little bit thing, you're an anti-Semite. If you've seen Mark Levin going off, calls Dave Smith Nazi. I mean, Ted Cruz, let's see if I can find this one. Ted Cruz went after a vet, basically this guy, and mentioning that he had tattoos, Nazi tattoos. And it's like, you're going after like military vets. And I thought that was your core constituents. I don't have it here that is saved. But either way, it's kind of what fascinating is you say the wrong thing about that group, you're an anti-Semite, you're a Nazi or whatever. But you can also say, let's completely destroy Islam, like everywhere. It's like, and you know what? I get it. I get when people are going on all about that. But you've got to do, and this is what I did last few times, which is, do you profess to be a certain kind of country? And if you are an apartheid country, then so be it. I get it. But stop acting like you're the most moral country, okay? And I think America has to do that too, right? We have values and we have whatnot, but you know what? Like I've told you, it's like right out here. The neighbors right there, they're Muslim. Super nice. We love them. Right next door are the Russians. We don't really interact with them at all. The ones right next to them, Polish. I love it. They just got their American citizenship, but wonderful people. Okay, but they're coming here, they're assimilating, and they're good people, and I don't really have a problem with that at all. I'm not, and there's always weird, immigration shit you can talk about and whatever. But am I saying, as a Christian, I want them all annihilated? No, but I don't think they are either. That's one thing, you got to tone it down just a tad bit. We came back from 9/11, and I think there was a lot of shit that was just sold to us. And so, the reaction is, well, look, they hate us for our freedom. Okay. That's good. Okay. Do I have a problem with my mic? Their curse will be getting everything they asked for, starting a war on biblical holiday, bidding for biblical empires. I wish your mic was 200% its current level, but happy you're alive. This happened to us last time too. Let me just see if I can. I don't know if it's any different on this side. I have it piped in here. It's going. It's all the way up from what I could see. So I don't know if that did it there. Pop a mic up here a little bit. All right. Sorry about that. There was one thing I went through. Let's see if I have it here. Yeah. So people were given, they got a bunch of comments and stuff here. And one person's like, love your show. And let me fix this right away. But the dick pill ads are a bit too much. So what I typically do, I'll go over here right now to the videos. I usually don't have on a live show the monetization on. It's on right now. I'm going to turn it off. There you go. It's done. It's saved. It's off. So catch the live shows and you're not going to have the monetization. Okay. Live show, no monetization. You catch it on a replay, you may get some monetization on there. Okay. I do get some money on that. Sorry. It just happens. Okay. Let's keep going on here. Cause what I want to talk about a little bit next is more your issue of why is the U.S. doing this? And I just feel it is so strong. Because let's play this one, this opening thing again by Ted Cruz, and I want you to take a listen to because for Trump to do, these military strikes, there has to be, without Congress approval, which doesn't happen, has to be some sort of immediate, concern, immediate danger.
That means what I urged President Trump on Friday. I said this regime is teetering. It is hanging by a thread. Do not miss this opportunity, because removing this regime that wants to murder us. Remember, this Ayatollah has for months hired hitmen with the stated purpose of murdering President Donald J. Trump. Removing this regime from power makes America much, much safer.
Okay. And on a different one, much, much safer. And on a different quote I saw of his, he's like, we obliterated their, maybe he said it partly there, I was kind of reading stuff. We obliterated their nuclear facility. So they didn't, he's essentially saying they didn't pose a risk. He told Trump, you got to go in there now. They're weak. Now is when the time is to strike. Okay, if they're weak, then why are we, it's not a danger. Okay, so you've got this. So you've got people like him, and then you have, I don't know, I asked Pete Quinones this yesterday. I was watching his show, and I'm like, is Trump blackmailed? Is he is he being controlled, or is he actually like a true believer that this is what should be done? I think he said that he thought that he was being somewhat blackmailed on this. Like they had something on him. Could be. I think at this point he has gotten, his payback. I think that's what it was. He said it was payback, that he had done so many favors when he was broke and whatnot, and after the election, and he got saved by Adelson's and whatnot. And so this is payback. He's having to give payback for what they gave to him. Could very well be true. Okay. Something though is wrong. You compare it to stuff he said previously and then now. But why are the Israelis so hell bent on doing this, right? And it's a weird mentality. And then you have the Zionists. We're going to break into both of those in a bit. But at first, I wanted to say was it actually the Israelis that, the reason why we're going to war? Here's Rachel Maddow. Here's her reasoning for why we're actually going to war over there.
And so why did Donald Trump just start this war? Why is this happening? Cui bono, right? Who benefits? It's always useful to start that question in any country. Who benefits? Who wants Iran bombed off the map and for their own reasons? Who are Iran's rivals and enemies? Perennially, it's the Gulf Arab states, countries like Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates and Qatar. Qatar, the country that just gave Donald Trump a really, really nice $400 million plane, really a gilded flying palace for his own use, both during his presidency and after. Trump plans to take that plane with him and keep using it after he leaves office, if he ever leaves office. And you remember United Arab Emirates, famous for recently structuring a totally pointless crypto financial transaction so that $2 billion of it would be stuffed into the Trump family's otherwise worthless brand new crypto financial firm. And of course, you remember the Saudis, who stuffed another $2 billion into the pockets of Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, just as Trump's first term in office came to a close. You might remember enough people were alarmed about that when it happened that the Trump folks actually sort of bothered to come up with an excuse for what made that okay. They said, don't worry, Jared will never again work for the U.S. government. He's never coming back to Washington. So it's okay that he's taken all this money from the Saudis now. We will never have to worry about having somebody involved in U.S. policy who has also just been given billions of dollars by Saudi Arabia, apparently for no reason. Well, that was the explanation when he took all that money from the Saudis at the end of Trump's first term. And now today, who has been leading the negotiations on behalf of the United States government with Iran before we just started this war with them today? I mean, Secretary of State Marco Rubio was in St. Kitts this week. It wasn't him. No, it was Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, recently paid billions of dollars by Iran's chief rival, and nevertheless sitting there alongside Trump's tiny real estate friend, Steve Witkoff, who has sought recently to improve his considerable family fortunes by going to Qatar to seek money from its sovereign wealth fund. And so why?
Okay, so there's a few things here. While she tries to hone in on the idea, I get it, right? But we play that for a different group. Let's see if I should probably have this ready to go as well. Yeah, we play that for a different group. It blows my mind that for somehow she will bring up all these, all these different reasons to do whatever, but you got that guy. The war under her thing, it said a specific thing of who was making these strikes, right? It was America. Okay, so why is Trump interested in doing this? And then maybe we have another explanation.
What cause is dear to your heart?
Cause is dear to my Israel, the defense of Israel.
What is number one?
Okay, so how did she not say Israel? How did she miss Israel? Well, because she's got some ties herself. So this it blows my mind, which is this is the problem, right? And I heard Dave Smith talking about him being on a Piers Morgan thing, and he's like, he's got his problems with Trump, but there is an amazing immediate reaction I get, and he voiced this kind of thing too, where he got these lefties on there, their reasons for not this. And it's like, ugh. And I listened to her and I'm already just like, ugh. Okay, she's making a lot of points that were kind of, Witkoff, Jared Kushner, Trump, all this, yeah. But you're missing the whole, because it's just like the Brillen Hillahan or Handyman or whatever it was. He said, it's Biden in there before. We couldn't have done this because he was weak. Trump is strong. And it's just like, she's the same way on the other side. But you can't see the truth on this. Oh, we're going to war for Qatar. Okay, there you go. It's not for Israel. So you've got to, when you hear stuff like that, you hear the Ted Cruz's, Bonginos, just understand when you start to see people in their true light, these are people you just can't deal with anymore, and you shouldn't be listening to them. Sweet baby Jesus says, well, he going to just join Israel, that traitor. That's true. LOL. Yeah, you must be talking about the Maddow shit. Okay, let's keep going in here because I want to play. This is going to be back from a few years ago. Remember, this is how we got here. Okay, let's pull this down here. This is how we got into the place we are. And I think Trump reelected was basically because of, stuff that Hegseth is saying like this. And, there was some, Ukraine was, kind of the tipping point. We're like, oh, there's a lot of right wingers that aren't interested in the war in Ukraine. We're kind of starting to see this change in the head of them. Tulsi actually is out there wearing no Iran war, T-shirts. So, and then she joins the site. So there's a lot of influence coming from this. And you're like, oh, okay, this is, this is starting to be kind of interesting. And you have stuff like this from Hegseth back in November of 2024.
I've been a recovering neocon for 6 years now. Like the foolishness with which we ricocheted around the world, intervening, think it was in our best interest, when really we just overturned the table and created something worse in almost every single scenario, has led to the hubris of the Pentagon is that they want to now tell other countries how to do counterinsurgency based on what we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, are you kidding me? So you really have learned nothing.
Okay, and so thank you for showing us that you've literally learned nothing either. Now, okay, let's get into it. I'm not going to break down all the actions that's happened, but there's been some Americans killed, which I think is just horrible, because this is not necessary for us. You can't, when you see all the excuses that they bring up, there's a military, but we obliterated their military. Like Walsh went through, okay? Every single, reason that they have, there's a counter that they almost bring up, which counters their reason for going. And so there is only one real, thing you got here, which is your Zionism / Zionism. Okay, so this chick here, she's been horrible. We've seen her on Piers Morgan before. We've broken down some of her videos. I think she's an international law attorney that works for UK Lawyers for Israel. So she literally works for them. But this here, what she has to say, because there's a note that a girls' school gets obliterated, and they say is a rocket that was misfired. Now she's got all kinds of reasons for it, and here's hers.
It's said that Iran is at its lowest capability to strike back in 50 years. So the justification that you're offering is diminished year after year.
No, quite the contrary. The justification is the existence of the ongoing armed conflict in which strikes by Israel on military targets is lawful at a very basic
level. And 108
level.
schoolgirls killed, the girls killed in southern, that's not a military target, is it?
I think we need to be very careful about repeating Iranian state TV
we have to be very
propaganda.
careful about not... I'm very mindful of the fact that the Israeli government rained down on the death toll in Gaza and has subsequently admitted that all the claims are true.
I notice you didn't interrupt your other guest.
I've interrupted all my guests when I fancy it, because it's my show, Natasha, but you carry on.
I know, but if I can finish a sentence, you might have a better understanding of the applicable international law. And I would caution repeating Iranian state government propaganda. Israel has been clear that it did not strike that school, which it appears is within or just next to an IRGC compound. And the scores of deaths reported by the Iranian Islamic regime feature very strongly that the same hallmarks of Hamas fake casualty figures. Of course, Hamas being an Iranian proxy, it's perhaps not surprising that they adopt similar
How many
tactics.
people did die in Gaza then?
But coming back to we know that it was less than what is being reported.
Well, give us a figure. You know the figures. What are they?
We know that we know that the number of combatants that have been identified is between 20 and 30,000. That much has been stated by a reputable source. But may I come back to the international law aspects?
Well, it's just interesting because we've had children killed in Iran, and you're saying don't believe the figures.
Well, no,
and then
I'm
you also say don't believe the figures in Gaza. I mean, whose figures should I believe?
I'm also saying that the reports that this may have been an IRGC missile that fell short need to be taken seriously. I haven't seen that in any of the reporting. This is an ongoing situation.
Oh, okay. This lady looked crazy, but you got to get an idea of what is out there and what is she saying. Now, here is kind of the reaction to that. Let's play this.
مسکونی و مردمی متاسفانه مورد اصابت قرار گرفته.
یکیش
مدرسه‌ای هست در میناب که شهدای دانش آموز.
Okay, so there you can't see that, but there's the reaction to it. Okay, they're chanting Amalek. That's important to note, and we'll get back to there. Now, this geo-confirmed evidently broke this down about the school, and it's pretty much, it's staying, and you can see this, it's geo-confirmed. Go find this out there on Twitter. Breakdown of the actual missile. It was done. It wasn't from a misfire. Even so, this shit happens. But what's more interesting is, look, you hide behind, this is what the Gazans do. This is what the Palestinians, Arabs, if you're not Jewish, you're just hiding behind the horribleness that is your military. And with that in mind, you are just, you're a bad person and whatnot. So let's see what, does Israel do that? does Israel hide behind their military and their IDF? Here's Glenn Greenwald. He has this question.
Country into disastrous wars, one after the next, are now just speaking as though none of it ever happened. It would be like as if a journalist, I published 8 or 9 different fraudulent stories with fake quotes and fake sources. And then the next day I woke up and said, oh, I know I did those things in the past, but I think I should still have credibility for you to listen to my reporting today, even though I did all of that. The other point I want to make is I want to ask Jonathan, because I mean, honestly, it is very, very difficult, I have to confess, not just for me, but for the world, as the polls show, to listen to an Israeli official in an Israeli accent give lectures on the need to have compassion for civilians after everything we just watched Israel do, vaporizing tens of thousands of people in Gaza, all throughout the Middle East, attacking countries. But since he is here, I do want to ask him, Jonathan, there's a lot of reports in mainstream Western press about how the IDF has built its primary military and intelligence structures, not just within key residential areas in Tel Aviv, but also underneath. Is it true that the IDF has built key military and intelligence targets within residential areas of Tel Aviv and beneath residential targets in Tel Aviv, the way that the Western media has continuously reported? Is that actually true?
Yeah, I can give a relatively short and plain answer to it. Surprising question. I've read some of your reporting and you seem like an informed guy. Yes, the IDF headquarters, referred to as the Kiryat, is indeed located in Tel Aviv. It is surrounded by civilian buildings, and inside the headquarters, not underneath civilians, but underneath the headquarters itself, is a bunker, which is not a revolutionary concept of militaries. And that bunker is a few stories below ground. Its name is indeed the Zion Citadel, and that is where some of the Israeli officers, generals conduct military operations from. I suppose some of the strikes, if not all of the strikes that are ongoing in Iran today, are managed from there.
Okay, so, and I'm going to get to your comment here, loser guy.
The headquarters of Mossad, the International Intelligence Service of Israel, which is inside Tel Aviv. It's in the northern part of Tel Aviv, but it's in the city. It's in a densely populated area. And of course, the concern is if you're firing, even though Iran might consider that a military target, it is in a densely populated city with civilians around it. And that's just one more layer of escalation.
Okay, so let's address some of your comments here, because I'm confused. Maybe you're not understanding. When I talked about this initially, and I said it can work back a ways with me, people, okay? And I talked about Israel proclaiming that they are the most moral army. I'm not saying that every army has to act like that, but they're not, okay? So you're gonna target so stop acting like you're the ones that we don't do these kind of things. Only everyone else does. It's the gaslighting, okay? It's pretty pathetic. So you can see Israel does the exact same things. Oh, but they're hiding behind, human target. Yes, they do. Everybody is doing that, okay? So that's not really an issue, and I don't know how it's some sort of gotcha from all this here, because it's not. Now, Jim says, well, let me click on this. What if the only way to decouple from Israel is to give them Iran? Would you be in favor of it then? I don't care what's going on over there, except for when America's involved. So sure, do what you want. I have no tie or concern. I don't even care necessarily about the Gaza situation. It's just that when Israel is so enmeshed in our politics, you got Brian Mast wearing an IDF uniform to vote, and we're giving him all kinds of money, and Netanyahu's over here, 7+ times visiting our president. Our president is going back and forth with the Adelsons, who also begged and got Jonathan Pollard, a big convicted spy, to go back over there. So yeah, if we're not involved, I don't necessarily give a shit what's going on. We've said this from the start. It's not rocket science here, people. We have schools on military bases here in the U.S. If you were to get attacked, those schools would likely be hit as well. Yeah, them the brakes. That's why you don't just start firing rockets at people. And I'm sure we were just, but you have to understand what this lady was just saying. They do the worst things and we don't. And he's like, well, you hit a school. See, if you just go, shit's going to happen. The point here also was this necessary? right? And Nyrinal MD says incoherent, but you don't say what is incoherent. So I know you said something up here. It's not pulling up on the screen, but it's let's compare Ukraine to Iran. Why? I don't want to be involved in either one of those. And I don't think it's necessary for the US to be involved in either one of those. Okay, so I don't have to. Iranians target civilians. Yeah, and military bases. And does Israel just target them? That's their, once again, that's their beef. They want to go at it. I don't know. Are you a Zionist? Are you a Zionist person here? Is that why you're reflexively trying to make some sort of weird thing? The hypocrisy of it all is killing me. Okay, I don't know who's being hypocritical, but there you go. You guys, if you're gonna put something in the chat, or go to my Twitter, and you can follow along a little bit better there. But you can send me a little bit more detailed expose about what you do or don't like. And if you think I'm incoherent, perfectly fine. I think I'm pretty consistent, okay? America first. I don't want to be involved in a dispute over there that's not necessary, because then what do you get? You're going to get blowback, and then you're going to see like, but they target us. It's like, yeah, but why are you striking them? Are they just targeting you randomly, or are they reacting, okay? And at this point, I don't really give a shit if I see Tel Aviv on fire, or somewhere in Iran either. I'm like, unless it's our stuff, but they're blowing up our bases, they're killing our American guys, and you're probably like, oh, that's fantastic, right? Because look at them targeting our Americans. Like, yeah, that's kind of a reaction. But let's get into why. Why is this a reaction? And maybe you'll like some of the stuff here. So first of all, maybe you also agree with this kind of thing, which is, Jew feed or something like this. It's time to put Fuentes, Owens, Carlson, Uyghur inside a World War II style internment camp. This is not just about Iran, Israel, and the Jews or America. These are individuals who, right now, while America is locked in a struggle against the dark forces of Shia Islam, dark forces of Shia Islam. I mean, there's dark forces we just saw over here. Let's go back and see if we can find it. Got a lot of these little, there we go. All right, so there's some dark forces right there yelling Amalek, and we're going to get to that here in a second, okay? So they want to intern you. This is what they're saying over in Israel. We should intern people like myself. Probably I'm not big enough, but that's what it would be, because they are aiding the enemy. Cowardice in the face of the enemy. Really? My enemy is not the same as their enemy, okay? I don't have a religious reason to be defending them. I don't have a religious reason to be defending their country or anything else there. But let's talk about Amalek, because that came up with the Tucker Carlson interview. So there's a little clip about the
to a number of speeches
Amalek
the Prime Minister, your friend Benjamin Netanyahu, gave in the aftermath of October 7th, including one in November of that year when he referred to Amalek. Now, Amalek is a reference, a biblical reference. Of course, you'll be very familiar with that. The Amalekites were a tribe described throughout.
Before we get in here, Renal MD says bye. You don't have to tell me goodbye. Just don't come and join in, okay? I know you came in here when I was first talking about Ricada and you got excited about that. But I think, you're a Canadian eye doctor or something like that? Well, go get Canadian everything. Medical hair.
Throughout the Bible, particularly in 1 Samuel, that obstructed the Jews as they fled Egypt. And God tells Samuel to give the instructions to Saul to kill the Amalekites. And he says, and I'm sure you remember this is in 1 Samuel 15, of course, I know you know it. He says, kill the men, kill the women, kill the children, kill the infants, kill the donkeys, kill the camels, kill everything. That is genocide. God is calling for genocide of the Amalekites, of Amalek. And the Prime Minister of Israel, at least once, I believe on other occasions, described the Palestinians in Gaza as Amalek. That's calling for genocide. And you know that.
I totally disagree.
Tell me then what it means.
Because to say that Israel was attempting to commit genocide, first of all, that's simply not true.
I'm saying, what is the Prime Minister talking about? Why would he refer to the Palestinians as Amalek? What is Amalek?
You would have to ask him. I don't know. I know what Amalek is. I do understand 1 Samuel 16. I get all
15.
that.
1 Samuel 15.
But I do understand.
And it's widely known. So if you say our enemy is Amalek and we are proceeding on the basis of God's commands to us, you are calling for genocide. Tell me how I'm missing something.
Because if Israel wanted to commit genocide, they could have done it in 2.5 hours.
We can debate what's happened in Gaza. I'm asking
hours.
you why the leader of this country.
Ask him.
Well, what do you think?
I don't know.
Okay, a little bit on that. I hate that excuse. They could have done it if they wanted to. Well, I don't think if they had done it to the point that they really wanted to, which we saw tweets and tweets and tweets about and comments about. We've even put up the post here of Netanyahu's son saying on his Twitter bio, it says, "From the river to the sea, this flag is all you'll see," and it's Israeli flag. If they wanted to do that, they could have, and they wanted to. You know that. They didn't because it wouldn't be plausible to have any kind of support. They want American support, and they knew that that wouldn't be the case. And by the way, they got goaded into doing the bad stuff that they did because Hamas.
אנחנו קראנו בפרשת השבוע, זכור את אשר עשה לך עמלק. אנחנו זוכרים ואנחנו פועלים.
And if this regime of terror has nuclear weapons, they will threaten all of humanity. Therefore, we went out to push away this danger too, first of all from ourselves, from us. But we are acting here together with the United States in the name of and for the sake of all humanity. I draw immense strength from the resilience of our citizens, from the heroism of our soldiers and commanders. We read in this week's Torah portion, "Remember what Amalek did to you." We remember, and we act.
I have a very simple question for Chavez. Who is Amalek?
Who's what?
Who is Amalek?
Oh, Amalek?
Yeah.
Oh.
And do you believe they should be destroyed? Who are they? And do you believe they should be destroyed?
I mean, I'm happy to have it.
Muted. This is why Tower Gang failed. Yeah, okay. That's not so good. Okay, so we played the clip here. What did I say? He talked about Amalek, and maybe the guy that left, maybe he had the right idea. We'll see if we could pull that part out. I don't remember what I was saying, other than here is talking about Amalek destroying everybody. I get it. I don't remember what I was saying. But anyway, Chris Brunet, he had a question.
I have a very simple question for Chavez. Who is Amalek?
Who's what?
Who is Amalek?
Oh, Amalek?
Yeah.
Oh.
And do you believe they should be destroyed? Who are they? And do you believe they should be destroyed?
I mean, I'm happy to have a Jewish theological debate, but I don't want to be rude. I'm not sure how much Hebrew you know, but most of the Mepharshim believe that Amalek is more of a concept in the age of Gullus.
Are they people today?
No.
According to Netanyahu, they are. In fact, he referred to the Palestinian people
you don't
as
speak
Amalek.
Hebrew. Hang on. You don't speak Hebrew, so you wouldn't know. I speak Hebrew. You can listen to the video yourself. He clearly says, watch the video yourself.
Netanyahu said Amalek.
Correct.
And he said,
correct.
We should treat them like we
Amalek?
treat Amalek in the Bible, which is to destroy all men, women,
First of all,
children, and animals.
We can't even hear it. First of all, I'm going to give you all a Hebrew lesson. It's not Amalek. It's Amalek. All right? That's first of all.
I don't care.
Second of all, no, because you just sound stupid when you say it like that. The second
pronunciation is
way,
not the
the same
issue.
way you said that there's a Golan Brigade. There's no Golan Brigade. It's called Golani. So it'll just make you sound smarter. The second thing is when Bibi said that, he said that Hamas is the equivalent of Amalek, which sure, if that's your theological, political justification, go for it. But again, I don't know how much of a theological debate you want to have. But almost all the Mepharshim, certainly in the Gemara as well, say that Amalek in the age of Gullus is not a practical people. No.
So when every Israeli politician says that Amalek must be murdered and destroyed, who are they talking about?
Well, as I just said, when Bibi refers to Hamas, he's comparing them to the Amalek nation in the Bible.
But the thing is that the Bible says, and I do know the Bible in this regard, it says that Amalek, however you pronounce. Okay, say it again.
Amalek.
Okay, Amalek.
Close enough.
Should be utterly destroyed. Man, woman, child, and all the animals. Wipe them out. So that's not just Hamas. That's all the Palestinians. That's what he was referring to.
All right.
And not only that, other Israeli officials called for total extermination. Okay, this is not a moral people. This is not a moral nation. This nation is barbaric.
All right.
Okay, so that's Rechtenwald. We're not muted now. Then, Chris, this was actually a report that got put in, just posted in here from CNN. I think we better, maybe we'll do this, go back here. CNN put out an article 33 minutes ago saying that this attack is for Amalek and to fulfill the mitzvah of remembering Amalek. The timing of the U.S.-Israel attack on Iran bears symbolic meaning in Judaism. Ahead of the upcoming Jewish holiday Purim, worshippers read the specific portion from the Old Testament known as Zakar. The passage from this book of Deuteronomy commands the ancient Israelites to remember an unprovoked attack by the nation of Amalek and to eradicate the memory of Amalek once the Israelites are settled in the land. The passage is read publicly before Purim to fulfill the mitzvah of the remembering Amalek as Israel's archetypal enemy. Okay, so there you go. Now, just a kind of a side note here. I watched this. You guys may think this is all bad, but I'm watching a thing about Elizabeth Smart. She was abducted in 2001 or so. 14-year-old, and then raped and taken away for like 9 months. They finally caught the guy, Brian David Mitchell, and he was very, very religious. And his justification is all biblical based for what he does. And this reminds me, and I'm going to play a clip of kind of his interrogation here. I'm going to play a clip of this because it reminds me of a lot of the talk you get now based on what's going on over there. I believe it's fanatical religious Jewry and Zionism that's getting us in a mess. Okay. I don't know what, for whatever reason, total domination. We saw this with Huckabee saying that they should be taking over the region, or they had the right to. Okay. Here we go.
That question is very relevant. How old is she? She's 18. What would lead you to believe she's 18? Because the Lord has said she is such. The Lord God Almighty told you that she's 18 years old? That's a yes or no question. Yes. Okay. Did you marry her? But you say 18. You say 18. Brian, just listen. That's not who I am. Emmanuel, listen. Did you marry her? I didn't marry her, but she's still to me as my wife. Yeah. She's still to you as your wife. Have you had sexual intercourse with her? Those are very personal, private questions. That's a very relevant question. Did you have sex with her? Yes or no? You told me I have an attorney present. I am my attorney. You were your own attorney? Presently I am. Okay. Presently I am. I'm defending myself, am I not? These questions can be used against me, correct? That's correct. They can be. Okay. Well, let's just cover the basics, okay? Okay. Did you take Shirar Jeshub? Shir Jeshub? Esther Isaiah is her name. Shir Jeshub? Esther Isaiah. I'm sorry, man. I just can't pronounce that. I'm just going to call her Elizabeth, okay? Shir Jeshub, Esther, Isaiah. Esther? Esther. I'll call her Esther. Okay. Did you take Esther out of her house? The Lord God delivered her to us. And how did the Lord God deliver her to you? Was that on the street somewhere? Was it at the shelter?
Did the Lord God sneak into her bedroom and take her out of her room in the middle of the night and deliver her to you? I mean, this is. I understand. You're trying to. This isn't making much sense to us. Right. So what I was hoping is maybe you could explain it in a way that we can understand. Well, you want answers that you can use against me. You know you do. Well, not only that, but understand this. You say you want to know the truth. Sure, we do. Okay? But the truth will set you free. As I said, it will set all men free. And
well, let's get back to Elizabeth Smart.
Yeah, because this sounds more like a political debate than
not political. There's nothing unpolitical.
Well, let me just put this right on the table.
There's nothing unpolitical.
So far, I have no idea what you're talking about. Maybe it's because I grew up outside of Utah and I'm not familiar with all this religious stuff. But you need to bring it down to a level so that I can understand it. Because this stuff you're talking about, and how it relates to Elizabeth and how she ended up being taken from her home. And let me just say this: for the past 9 months, that family has gone through hell.
I understand.
You do understand that?
I understand that very much.
I mean, their whole family has been torn apart. And I can tell you that since the day that she's been taken, both Cord, myself, and hundreds of other law enforcement officers have been spending countless hours upon hours trying to find this girl. And the family, I mean, they wake up during the middle of the night and their kid is gone, and they have no idea where she went. They think she's dead. We expected to find a corpse. And so your explanation so far as far as God delivering her to you makes no sense to me because it doesn't match up with the facts.
How was when the children of Israel were led into the promised land?
Let's keep it out of the Bible. Let's keep it to the present time.
There's no other way I can explain it.
All
Sorry.
right, well, if you don't mind me if when you start to explain it, it makes no sense if I just cut into it.
Okay, well, let me say, you just shared with me how her family suffered, right? But when God's children become idolatrous and wicked, they suffered many things. The whole history of mankind, the scriptures, is great suffering. They become idolatrous and wicked. They've been taken into captivity. They've been torn apart. They've been slain. Many things have happened to the Lord's children when they've been disobedient.
Time to bring it in for a landing because you're talking about stuff again.
Here it comes in for a landing. When the children of Israel went into the promised land, they destroyed many, many peoples. And in many cases, they took the daughters captive and just destroyed all the men, women, and children except the daughters who were virgins. All the boys were destroyed, all the men and women were destroyed, and the only thing they took captive were the virgin daughters. That was the children of Israel when they went into the promised land. In some cities, the Lord commanded them to just hold it completely.
So where was your promised land located?
Well, the whole earth is the promised land for all of us. When the Lord comes in great power and mighty glory and might, He's going to destroy all the wicked and lift up the poor, the sick, and the afflicted, the humble followers of Christ. Lift them up, and they will inherit the earth. This is according to the gospel and the scriptures and the teachings of God. Are you saying that because you are...
Okay, why are you playing this, Tyler? Because this is what a fanatical person sounds like, okay? And a fanatical person can also sound like this, being Muslim, 21 virgins and all this stuff, and you see that, you see a beard, and you're just like, oh, yeah. The problem is, a fanatical can also sound much like what we just heard here. This guy, okay, Kaustenbaum, also the stuff he was saying, okay, Mike Huckabee, what he was saying, and you wear a suit, you do all this other stuff, but the reality is, from the biblical standpoint that they're coming at, it's no different. And I think it's when you try to take how you interact with someone in society, how you take when you're going to, treat another country, property rights, personal rights, and you're basing it on your religious beliefs. It's a fanatical situation. You've got the fundamentalist Mormon guy there that we just showed. You've got the Zionists, because we're going to play another one here of additional people that have acted very similar. Let's listen to this lady's reaction here to the shock that bombs were being thrown at them. Let's go.
Why does it have to happen to us always? Why is it always the Jewish people? We didn't do anything. Like, it wasn't us. Like, we really didn't do anything.
Critics of the Jewish state would say you guys started this war by attacking Iran about 48 hours ago.
No. We did not start. No. The Jewish people, Israel doesn't want to ever do a war.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you've got to have a little bit more sense than this. But, God promised you whatnot. Well, let's see what Pastor Hagee has to say about all this as well.
God bless you for having the courage to do.
Imagine having this in your church, all right? You go to church, and I guess you go on Sunday, and this guy has a flag behind him of this, Operation Epic Fury.
God bless you for having the courage to do what others feared to do. God bless our fighting forces in the Middle East in the brilliant execution. God bless our forces in the Middle East in the brilliant execution of Operation Epic Fury. Today we will discover in Bible prophecy that God has an Operation Fury. He has planned for Iran and Russia in the near future. Stay tuned in the television audience. Let's read Psalms 122, 6 through 9. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May they prosper who love you. Peace be within your walls, prosperity within your palaces. For the sake of my brethren and companions, I will now say peace be unto you. Because of the house of the Lord our God, I will seek your good. Can we pray together? Our most gracious Heavenly Father, as we gather in this house today, we pray for the peace of Jerusalem and the many Christians in Iran that will now be free to worship you in spirit and in truth. The Word of God commands us to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for they shall prosper that love you. We thank you for the fabulous military victory over the enemies of Israel this week. The Bible says, he that keepeth Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. We thank you for our President, Donald Trump, whose wise courage has crushed the enemies of Zion. Today we rejoice in the prophetic scriptures of Ezekiel revealing God's Operation Fury for the enemies of Israel in the near future. King David writes in the Psalms concerning Israel, "You shall break them with a rod of iron. You shall dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel." In Jesus' name, amen.
First of all, just say I hate prayers that people, if they're going to go pray, go pray. Don't, write it out. It's all this, script stuff. But his 501c3 church should be up for grabs as far as, that's just ridiculous. Okay, we're getting near the end here. Do I even want to get this one? Let's play a few more of these brilliant people here in Congress and whatnot.
A war of choice. The president ran, and did the president not run on not starting a war with Iran?
He ran on two things: ending wars. He's ended 8 of them, and he also ran on keeping America safe. This isn't a war. We haven't declared war. Everybody wants to say
I want to play the Secretary of Defense, who calls himself the Secretary of War, said today this is a war. Let's watch.
We set the terms of this war from start to finish. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it.
Is it really not a war?
What he declared on us was war, meaning us as Ayatollah. He declared war on us. We are not at war with the Iranian people. The Ayatollah who declared war on us, we've already taken him out. Now we're eliminating the threat. The Iranian people, we want to see them take back the country that the Ayatollah has been raping and pillaging them or from them for 47 years. So we're not at war with Iran. We're making sure that they do not have the capability to harm us anymore. They have killed thousands and injured thousands around the world, American citizens and military personnel, for 47 years, and not one single president has had the backbone to do anything about it until President Trump, and thank God we have done something about it.
Yeah, I just don't know that there's a real justification for what you're doing there. We played that one. What else? We played that one. I think we're about done here. This guy, yeah, he said that there's no military strikes. Let's end with Paula Luna.
You just stated that the act of war would be if Americans were being killed. You said, what if a bomb went off in the United States, right? For over 40 years, the Iranian government and regime has been responsible for the deaths of thousands upon thousands of Americans, not to mention state-sponsored terrorism. And so did the president do the right thing? Has he been consistent in this? Absolutely.
Can you just tell me really quickly, where have they killed thousands of Americans in America?
I didn't say they killed thousands of Americans in America. I said that they have been responsible for thousands of Americans being killed. And I think that that's easily something that you can verify. I don't know, state-sponsored terrorism for starters. Are you serious right now about that whole thing? I'm not going to list out exact specific locations. They've literally been responsible for sponsored terrorism.
Are you talking about the Iraq war where the U.S. invaded Iraq?
You can start out by the 3 that they just killed. Okay, the whole point of your network, if you want to actually talk about the facts here, I'm giving you the facts. But I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about something that's commonly accepted and known.
Congresswoman, you don't have a good understanding of the conflict.
Well, I'm the one that's getting the briefings, not you. You're a pundit offering your opinion because you want clickbait, but aren't actually interested in the substance.
No, not at all.
We can talk about the fact that Obama sent millions upon millions of dollars to the Iranian regime, or do you not want to address that because it's not supported by your opinion and your network?
No, not at all.
Is this really even something that we're going to actually get to substance, or are you going to continue to attack this?
No, it seems like you just want to filibuster. It seems like you don't really want to have a good faith conversation.
Or you just don't like what I'm saying.
No, we would have invited you on the air.
This happens every time I'm on with you.
Yeah, you keep coming on every time, and you keep stating a lot of things that are incorrect.
Because
the United States launched an attack on Iran.
About it, except for you.
The United States launched a war against Iran right now. Iran retaliated, in which American members. Strikes. You can call it whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, the Iranians responded and killed 3 American service members. So what we're trying to get at is you make an assertion on this air that it's not an invasion when America sends fighter jets and Israel sent fighter jets into another country.
Boots on the ground are not going to happen. Congress will not vote on war with Iran because that is not something that we support, and that is not something that the administration supports.
That's actually what the Constitution says that in Article 1, but I guess you think Article 2 is more important, so it's up to you.
Article 2 is when the U.S. citizens and our military are in direct imminent threat, the president reserves the authority.
Yeah, well, he hasn't made that case to the American public or Congress, and that's the problem, and that's why he's supposed to go to Congress.
Well, he's not going to give you classified intelligence
information. He's not supposed to give it to me. He's supposed to give it to members of
Congress.
He's supposed to go give it to members of Congress. That's exactly why members of Congress. You're only one. There are 435 members and 100 senators, and others have not gotten it. You're not the only one who gets to speak on behalf of the American people.
Prior to the strike.
Anyway, unfortunately, we're out of time, but really appreciate you coming on.
All right, there we go. So that's all we're going to have for that lady at this point. So look, did we accomplish anything? I guess my whole point on this is just more along the lines that I believe, I don't know why we're going to war for Israel. I don't want to be coupled with them. I don't want to be doing this over there. We're going to get our guys killed, and then you're going to be having more backlash from the outside, and then you're going to have people in the U.S. being all more. Then it's going to just work them up. It's just we're just going to go back at this. I mean, is America this great right now, where this is what we can handle? It was always going to end. Let's see what James, sorry, I want to get back to this one. It was always going to end this way, whether through a subversive coup or a covert military action. I hope it's brief and we're successful. I absolutely hope the exact same thing, right? You get this done and over. But, you know, we've talked about this. You just don't go in and change cultures, okay? But you need to understand why. It's fascinating. They're like, oh, the Khomeini and, you know, the Shah and this. And it's like, okay, well, let's walk our way all the way back. And speaking of which, we're going to do a members only viewing of the documentary Iran, 100-year war. So take a look for when that's going to come out. I'll try to do that this week sometime. But yeah, you always have to be a little cautious. And with that in mind, I don't want any more people getting killed. And I would hope that we can actually get this shit taken care of. Missed this one up here. The History Channel has a show called Bible Battles, maybe still on YouTube, military perspective and the commands of what to do to anybody in their way. Yeah, Bible Battles, brutal. Okay. But I don't think that's the kind of life we have anymore. And I don't know that we need to be going through there. And I don't know that you need to be, you know, like Dave said, since Enlightenment, we really haven't had these kind of, you know, you shouldn't be having these kind of, you know, biblical battles. And I guess we still do. And for me, it's a little bit frustrating as well. All right. Sorry for the muted section there tonight. It's a little off. It's been a long week. But anyway, there we are. Hope everyone has a good one. We will see you. Expect a show on Thursday. Probably more Iran stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll try to do something else. Bye.
Okay, I'm leaving now.
But she's back.
And now.
Tyler, if you had any clout about you, if you had any like knowledge of the real world,
none of us are screaming, "Let's kill Tyler."
Tyler says, "My
Jewish princess."
You low key, you're one of the funniest dudes like in the like Liberty world that I know.
More or less, eat shit and die.
He's just a podunk lawyer somewhere in like rural California. He's an idiot, really.
It takes a tough man to make a tender forecast, Nick. I guess that's me. Keep fucking that chicken.
Do you see what he just did to Tyler?
I feel like you don't get the appreciation for your humorous wit.
What are you talking about? I didn't say that. Why don't you argue with something I said, you dumb bastard?